Welcome to another episode of eCommerce Australia podcast. I'm really excited about this next guest that we have coming up. We're going to talk all things SEO. Remarkable Digital's very own SEO lead, Patrick Dhital. Mate, welcome to the podcast.
I appreciate it, mate. Good seeing you as well. Good seeing
you
all the time, mate.
100%, mate. Obviously, we've been working together for 6 or 7 months. I'm so keen to get you on the podcast. One thing that I've noticed looking through all my episodes is I actually haven't done too much when it comes to SEO. So I thought we'd have a really good and in-depth SEO discussion today, and the listening audience can walk away with the reasons why or why not they should be doing SEO, what type of SEO is working at the moment, and perhaps they can look at their own businesses and see how give themselves a score of how their SEO is going currently. Mate, before we jump into it, a little bit about yourself, mate. How long have you been in SEO?
Do you want it right from the beginning, or
mate, right from the start?
Okay. So yeah, like many people listening to this podcast, about 12 years ago, I would say, I started an e-commerce store with a close friend of mine. It was when I was a broke uni student, so I just wanted to make some extra money, and the product itself wasn't that great. It was a hair removal product, but it definitely worked and stuff. But it was a decent product. It was in a super saturated market, and it was when dropshipping was a massive craze. So, as I said, I was a broke uni student, so I didn't have money. So I didn't have the money to spend towards advertising, and that's when I started getting an understanding of SEO and its power. And I say I did all of that, but I've got to give as much credit as I can to my business partner at the time. His name is Vitali. So he learnt as much as he could about it and relayed that information back onto me. And, we started doing some natural link building, reaching out to different reporters and journalists, doing keyword research, writing blogs, getting freelancers to write blogs, and that worked out really well. But the approach was a little bit ghetto, it wasn't really a structured approach at all. But keep in mind, the landscape of SEO has entirely changed now. So, from that, we started making quite a few organic sales, probably around $5,000 to $6,000 a month,
nice.
Which is really good money at the time, and about like 6 months later, I decided to give that up. At the time, my heart wasn't really into becoming an entrepreneur, and obviously I didn't really believe in the product as much. I decided to go back to working on my 9-to-5 career. But then a few years later, I decided to do some freelancing work as an SEO consultant for businesses on a platform called Fiverr. I'm sure a lot of your audience have heard about that as well. Just started working for peanuts, but got really good reviews, and people could really see that I cared for their businesses, and obviously got them good results as well. And over time, just basically refined my processes a lot more, worked with big clients on that platform, and got them great results. And that's where basically that imposter syndrome basically started washing away a little bit, and
nice.
and I started to realize, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this. And about 3 years ago, Fiverr reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to jump on 7 News, which is a really good experience. So I ended up on 7 News, which is a really, really fun experience.
Nice.
It was actually during the height of COVID, so I had
It wasn't a current affair or something like that.
No, nothing like that. That was for something else. No. I'll share it with you, mate. But I probably around about that same time, I co-founded a business called SEO Assistance. So left my full-time job as a data analyst, and really gave it my all towards SEO full-time, and just polished up all of my processes. And during that whole time, I became a SEMrush verified contributor, so I actually wrote articles for them, worked with the biggest clients around the world, including companies like InVideo, Migrate Learning, did auditing projects for Wix.com, did a huge auditing project for September, the organization. I'm sure a lot of your audience know about it as well. But I recently left that business now, not for any sort of negative reason, just felt like it was the right time for me to leave. And now I'm working for you and Remarkable Digital. But probably, what about yourself, mate? You're always asking other people questions. What about yourself? What's your background?
Yeah. Thank you, mate. Well, Yeah, I probably don't go into my background, but I had that natural progression from 15 years of riding thoroughbred racehorses professionally into SEO, pretty much. So straight away,
Jeez.
the skills just align, from being a jockey and having to try and win on the racetrack to going into SEO. So look, I had 15 years riding racehorses as a jockey. Weight was always my biggest battle, and I'm happy to go into the lengths that we used to go to lose weight. Perhaps on another podcast, 'cause we could be here all day, but it'd be nothing for me to drop 3.5-4 kilos in 24, 48 hours in the sauna. But anyway, I got to 30, and I thought, geez, there's got to be an easier way to make a living. So I got out of racing and started in retail, and that's sort of where my passion for retail and later on to become e-commerce has come from. I worked with one of the best retailers you'll ever see, a guy called Craig Gasper at Sports Fever in WA, and he taught me a lot. Then I worked for Raf Bohr at the Running Centre, and Sammy DeVries looked after 2XU and Mizuno. So, some really good sports athleisure brands. But that's sort of where the passion came from for retail e-commerce and to where I am today. So, started Remarkable Digital about 18 months ago. I spent 3 years as a franchise business owner for another digital marketing company. We'll leave that there, except the fact that I wouldn't go into a franchise again, because you don't have a lot of control over quality, staff turnover, results ultimately. So, I wanted to create my own standard and be the best and deliver results, and really care about my employees and clients like no other agency could. There are some good agencies. I'm not out here to bash agencies. There are some really elite ones that I've had on the podcast as well. But I guess that's my background, mate.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's always good to hear about that. You said that you packed on. Oh, sorry, no, you lost 3 to 4 kilos overnight. I can pack on 3 to 4 kilos overnight, mate. So
exactly.
we're in different categories.
No, exactly. It's not fun, but anyway. What I want them to get out of this podcast is just to understand the reasons why you should or you shouldn't do SEO and whether it's right for your business. We've done a lot of audits recently, and we can just see some massive holes in SEO strategy. A lot of them are really strong in paid, but then you look at the SEO and you're like, wow, there's just so much money on the table here to be made from SEO. How have you seen sort of SEO performance, generally speaking, in 2024? What's been your take on it so far?
I would say with the most recent updates, especially with the helpful content update on the backing of the introduction of AI, especially ChatGPT, that's been a game changer for a lot of businesses. So definitely businesses that relied on low quality content, they faced issues, but companies that had a robust content development plan, they ended up getting much better results, even with all of the existing SEO processes remaining the same. So just to clarify what I mean by low quality content, essentially if you've found a keyword, built some content, added an image and left it at that, that's definitely not enough these days. You definitely need to follow the EEAT concept. I'm sure a lot of your audience have heard about it. Essentially what that stands for is experience, so how much first-hand knowledge you have on your particular subject. Expertise, so how recognized you are for your particular skill. Authority, which is how often your content has been able to rank or how often your content has actually been cited by other sources. And trustworthiness, which is just giving an honest, unbiased view. You don't want to be overly salesy with your pitch or with your content. It's the same as any sort of sales. You don't want to be. You need to be a little bit relatable. So just and obviously making sure that whatever content that you're actually developing on your website, it's not just built with AI or you're not just beefing up the content with fluff, right? You've got to be making sure that you're answering the question that people actually have. But look, in general, mate, performance in 2024 has been good for e-commerce stores, I would say. But it has been a little bit more difficult for businesses that have relied on lower quality content. And that's especially for service-based businesses.
Yeah, brilliant. And mate, I'm glad that you just touched on that AI piece and around low quality, because there is differing opinions on whether you can use AI content and still get ranked, which you obviously can to a degree. But where do you sit in that AI discussion? I mean, if you're just looking at that EAT principle, would to me is a pretty clear message from Google that they don't want AI. They want authority, they want expertise, and they want. But when you're thinking of an SEO and a content strategy, does AI have a place, or
AI definitely has a place to understand, the structure of of your content, how you should develop articles in a certain way, but it shouldn't be the nuts and bolts of what that article actually is. So back to what I said about the EEAT concept, it was previously just expertise, authority, and trust, but Google have actually added experience within that, and that combats AI, because AI can't give you a first-hand experience of something you'd know specifically about your industry. So definitely AI is rampant at the moment, but how you can create a competitive difference and something that Google will actually appreciate is writing the content yourself and showing your own experiences.
Yeah, perfect. And mate, I think that's so exciting as well, because to do what everyone else is doing, if that is AI, and you go it alone, you invest in SEO, you invest in a content plan, and you actually highlight your experience and authority and trust, first-hand knowledge, then that's just going to stand you worlds apart in content that's just so AI generated. So I think there's a huge opportunity for people to accept that AI is coming in various various sort of guises, I guess, and it's a good play. It's a good thing to have, and it's only going to be more and more. But when it comes to content, if we can really personalize that, I think that's going to actually probably be one of the stronger SEO tactics you can do.
Definitely, mate. And look, AI should definitely be used as a tool. Any sort of new technology should always be used as a tool, but it shouldn't be used as something that you rely on, to develop content for your website. So, like I said, just use it to structure your articles, but then come up with the content yourself, and you'll be well ahead of the crowd.
Yeah, 100%. Mate, why should brands invest in SEO is a question I want to ask you. SEO has been around for a long time. A lot of people, a lot of conversations we have, I know, is we've been burnt with SEO agencies in the past, and we'll address that in a second, in a little bit later in this episode. But from your point of view, why should brands invest in SEO?
Well, going back to the answer that I gave regarding my own e-commerce store. When I was a broke uni student, I was able to make money without having to spend on marketing. And obviously, a lot of your listeners are people that have much greater business maturity than I did at the time. But essentially what SEO gives you is long-term sustainability, because you're no longer relying on forcing your advertising to people, and you're actually targeting a targeted audience, people that are actually searching for your services or your product. And obviously paid advertising has changed now, where the algorithm is a lot more applicable to targeted audiences. But SEO in general is the cheapest way that you can bring people who are explicitly looking for your services exactly, right? So I'm interested in knowing why you think brands should invest in SEO as well, mate. So I might throw that question right back at you. Yeah,
fair enough. Well, look, I've got plenty of reasons why, and obviously we run an e-commerce SEO agency, right? So, are we? What's the word? Are we?
I can't help you, mate. Don't look at me.
What's the word? Are we? Do we have the SEO blinkers on? Perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but if you look at SEO, as you mentioned, you get free traffic, and I think free traffic and earned position, which is really important, and you get the most amount of profit on the least amount of spend.
Exactly.
If you look at paid, you spend a fortune on it, right? And it gets more and more expensive when competitors come into the market.
Yeah.
It still only gets between 10 and 15% of clicks on the search engine results page.
Yeah.
And the big thing for me, the day you turn it off, it could not care less about you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're never to be seen in that position again as soon as you stop advertising.
Exactly.
The other thing too, it's easy to replicate for other brands. So if you have someone who wants to enter that space, and you're not doing any organic, they can just come in. If they've got bigger budgets than you, they can just knock your visibility out straight away.
Of course, so true, mate.
That's another reason. I think you can become the dominant trusted brand organically. Obviously, organic search is the most trusted search because you're not pushing an advertisement. Yeah. As you said, you're attracting them, and it's really intent based.
Yeah. Anecdotally, even people that I've spoken to, like clients that I've spoken to, they've preferred the organic listings when they've actually made a search. So, people aren't stupid. They know what a sponsored listing is. They know that those companies paid for that particular position. So, I think people gravitate towards the organic listings anyway.
Yeah.
So you're definitely right on that regard.
For sure. And Google are trying to change that SERP to make it, to get as many clicks on their ads as possible in one way, but they also cannot hurt the user experience that people go and use a different search engine as well. So, that's a sort of a tricky kind of play for them.
Yeah.
But I think you stay at the top position without paying for it daily, better conversion rate, more profitable. And the big thing for me is that if someone wants to come along and buy your business, if you're just doing 100,000 on paid performance, it's not worth that much because they can just do that themselves.
Yeah.
But if you're ranked one for all of these keywords that have taken you blood, sweat, and tears and years to get to, that is something worth paying for.
100%, mate.
So I think that exit is something to perhaps doesn't get the credit it deserves. But you're building an asset.
Yeah. Sometimes I say, if a company has a good SEO, like if SEO is a very good channel for them, it shows that their business is doing really well, because it's definitely one of the more difficult areas when it comes to digital marketing in general. But if you get that right, you're doing a really good job.
Yeah, 100%. And I always look at, I had Brendan Gillen on the podcast and, a little while ago, and he mentioned this thing of the traffic trifecta. It really resonated with me. But if you can have a brand where you're getting 30% of your traffic from SEO, organic, earned traffic, you get 30% of your traffic and revenue. 40% is through own, so email database, text, previous customers, grow that database. That's 70% of free traffic.
Yeah.
And then you get 30% through paid channels. The fluctuations of paid and cost per clicks and results and all that, can kind of go up and down, but you've got 70% that's basically free.
Yeah.
It just means that you're a lot more profitable.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I didn't hear that podcast specifically, but yeah, that's a definitely good analogy. But
mate, what are you doing?
So,
you're the only one. Mate, what's the difference between kind of traditional SEO and e-commerce SEO? Is there, in your opinion, a difference between the two?
Yeah, well, to put it simply, mate, e-commerce SEO is more about the optimizations you do across your product and your collection pages and bringing traffic to those pages because they have the highest conversion rates. Whereas with, general SEO, especially for service-based businesses or content-based websites, it's more so about what sort of content you've developed and the keyword strategy you're taking around that. So essentially the product or the collection pages are going to be your main focus for e-commerce businesses. Not saying that you can't create content as an e-commerce business. You should definitely be doing that. But look, the fundamental concepts of SEO will always remain the same. And that is the keyword strategy you're using, how you're implementing that keyword throughout your website, the technical optimizations you're doing, so like how fast your page loads, the user experience that people are experiencing on your website, the core web vitals, the link building work that you're doing, how you're building up authority, the content development that you have, and as well as the digital channels that you're utilizing to bring traffic to your website. So all of that will remain the same for every single business. But the difference between all of them is what sort of strategy are you using, right? What sort of keywords are you using? Is it relevant to your business? What sort of links are you building? And is that relevant to your particular product or your particular company? And what are the different keywords that you're using for your content development? So obviously all of that requires a lot of research, But yeah, the fundamental concept of SEO remain the same, but e-commerce SEO is essentially more about your product and collection pages.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliantly answered, mate. Love it. So there's a real correlation between user experience and SEO, right? So you can have your UX in terms of, we're not talking backlinks or, definitely like on-page SEO and user experience. When we talk e-commerce SEO, we're also looking at things like the way that filters are displayed and used, and how the page, how the page is laid out, how the filters are, how easy it is to use. I think user experience and time on website has signals to Google that this is actually a well laid out page, and you'll get rewarded for better trust and authority based on having a really good user experience. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, my background was as a data analyst. So, for me, seeing something like Google Analytics it's so great. The amount of data that you can get from that is absolutely awesome. And there's a reason that they've given you this platform. And it's a reason it's called Google Analytics, because obviously it's all within the same ecosystem. So what I've seen is that if you look closely at certain metrics, especially engaged sessions, engagement rate, average engagement rate, average engagement time. Sorry, I'm just thinking of it from the top of my head, as well as the total number of actions or events that people are actually taking on your page, like the total number of transactions. If that's all performing really well, then you're generally going to be performing really well from an SEO standpoint as well. An example that I can actually give is there was a website that I was working on previously, and we were doing SEO for them, and I realized that their website looked a little bit old. So we decided to completely rehaul the website, and obviously ensuring all of the SEO components with the new design were polished and set up correctly. But with all of those things remaining the same, their traffic went from 50 odd clicks per month to 500 clicks per month, and that's with all SEO remained the exact same. We didn't do any sort of additional content development. We didn't do any sort of link building work. But do I think that's an outlier? Absolutely. It's not going to be the same for everybody. So if there's someone listening and is thinking, if I redesign the website, you're going to get 1,000% increase in your organic traffic, that's definitely not going to happen. But yeah, look, you should definitely consult with someone before you do that. But yeah, look, user experience is definitely an important ranking signal when it comes to Google, and relying on your GA4 metrics is definitely the way to go for that.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Love that. You mentioned link building.
Yep.
So how important is link building these days? So, from what I've seen in my SEO journey, there was a period of time where it was all about, well, I don't know if it was ever been about quantity, but quantity certainly worked for a lot of areas, just smashing so many backlinks onto a website with low quality but high volume. The way Google has obviously started to get more sophisticated with links and analysing those sorts of links, that looks like it's less effective than it's at its least effective right now. We're looking at more high quality links, less links, but more relevant links.
Yep.
How important are backlinks in this day and age?
Yeah, you've got it exactly right, mate. It's more about quality than it is about quantity. But yeah, backlinks are always going to be important. Going back to what I discussed about content, and having authority on a particular subject. Authority is all about how many other people trust your content. And link building is the signal that Google use to determine that. So just for your audience, if there's anyone that doesn't really know what backlinks are, should I give it an explanation? Yeah. So you can have two websites, right? So imagine you have an e-commerce store and you're selling a particular product, and there's another company that's selling their own product that's very similar to yours. Both of you can go into the website and make changes and do all of the on-page and technical optimizations perfectly. But how does Google differentiate between your website and the other website? The answer to that is essentially backlinks, right? Obviously, I'm simplifying it a little bit, but Google will see that you have more quality backlinks, more quality sources are linking out to you, and therefore they trust your content a little bit more, provides you with a little bit more authority, therefore pushing you up higher in the ranking algorithm. And that's remained consistent since Google SEO has been around. So it's definitely really important, but as you said, it's about quality, not quantity. So probably about 10 years ago, you could build 1,000 backlinks on rubbish websites, and that would push you up high in the ranking algorithm. But now these days, Google have really updated their algorithm and have a very good way of determining what a good quality backlink is. And I've actually written an article on SEMrush that goes through the link building processes that I use. So and a lot of that is consistent with the messaging that Google have provided around how backlinks should be sourced and utilized. So you got it right though, mate. Quality, not quantity.
Yeah, exactly. In every area of life, mate. I would think, but I think for those that need a more of a simple analogy of that, me trying to explain to my family what SEO is always quite the battle. I don't think I've quite got it right, but essentially it's, if you use that same analogy, it's probably like, a business networking group, right? And there's 2 SEO people there. If you ask 100 people in that room who you network with which one's the better one, then if 60 people that are highly regarded say that Ryan is the best SEO specialist around, then that will get me more favourable than if 40 people say that Patrick's the best SEO specialist, but those 40 people aren't as credible. Yeah. If that makes sense. Or it is a bit like a popularity contest at school, which I was I never won. So, but that's sort of how to explain links. And what's the process, mate? Like, how do you get a backlink?
There's a couple of different methods, mate. I think the most traditional method these days is to do a guest post, but you have to make sure that wherever you're posting, the metrics of that website is correct. But just to answer your question, it would usually come in the form of email marketing campaigns, so reaching out to various different websites, whether that's your blogging website, whether that's a journalist, whether that's a registered author, or a website administrator. So just reaching out to them. And sometimes you'll find them through email, sometimes you'll find them through like a Facebook group, sometimes you'll find them through LinkedIn. Just finding strategies to connect with those types of people and asking them if you can publish content on behalf of a company. And assuming that content that you've written is really good quality, sometimes they'll be happy to post it on their website. So it's really about finding a diamond in the rough and hoping that they actually like your content and are willing to post on their website with it. So it's a quite extensive process. Sometimes people aren't keen, so we really got to know how to negate around that. So sorry, mate, it's super cold, so getting a little bit tongue-tied. No,
you're all right. Do some people request payment for that link? Like, do you have to pay for links? Sometimes?
Yeah, so look, obviously Google say that you shouldn't ever pay for a link, but honestly, these days it's unavoidable. With more and more people knowing about SEO, with more and more people understanding the power of a backlink, it's very, very rare for you to be able to contact someone and for them not to ask you, hey mate, can you actually pay for this? So like I said, you'll occasionally find that diamond in the rough, someone that's just willing to post content because they like your content. So that's the type of people that you should be going after. But it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. And if there's just a word of caution to other people that are looking to hire an SEO agency, if your SEO agency says they don't pay for links, they're lying to you. Unless they're, really elite companies, it's more likely that they're lying to you.
More likely they would have their own sort of PBN network.
Yeah, like a PBN network, so...
Which aren't known for quality links.
No, and they're actually more harmful to your business than anything else. And
that sort of link farming, is that
link farming. So essentially... it was a term that I coined SEMrush have actually coined it as well, and it's called artificial inflation. So what that actually means is websites that artificially inflate their metrics. So building up authority through using multiple different PBNs to build up their own PBN, right? And it makes the website appear nice when you look at statistics like domain rating, authority score. So a lot of SEO agencies will try and sell you on that link and say, hey, it's got very high authority, it's got very high domain rating, but usually those websites have been built, through PBNs. So it's not actually a good quality link at all. And usually they have no traffic either. And traffic is one of the more important signals when it comes to understanding whether the website is good or not. So definitely stay away from PBNs and utilize good quality backlinks. That's all I could say.
Yeah, nice. The agencies out there that are using PBNs won't tell you that they're using PBNs.
Nah, they
PBNs.
won't.
They'll just mention that they acquire a lot of links, and there's a little bit of slick talk around that. But
what I've seen is that they call it Web 2.0 links. So if someone's telling you that it's not a PBN link and it's a Web 2.0 link, usually they're the same thing, right? So a good way to know whether the links that you're getting are good quality or not is just to double check whether it's on a subdomain. So if there's 2 dots in the URL before it goes into the URL slug, then it's usually a sign that the website's not very good. So
really,
yeah,
there's 2 dots.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, so you see like mystrikingly.whatever.com. If you see something like that, usually those links aren't that great. So and they're not going to transfer any authority to your website. So obviously you want relevant domains, websites that have content focused on your particular subject. So for example, if you're selling kitchen goods, obviously you'd want links from websites that focus around recipes and food and stuff like that in general. So that's the type of links that you should be going for. Is there some links that are, Web 2.0s or PBNs that might help you? Yes, but would I be willing to take that risk with my own clients to get links from there? Absolutely not. Yeah. That Google come out with spam updates basically every single 3 months. So, you might see good results for 3 months, but then suddenly your website goes to 0. So I've seen that happen to a lot of different businesses. Obviously, I wasn't doing the SEO for them, but I've seen that happen, and it can be very, very difficult to bounce back from that. So, be very careful with backlink. That's all I can say.
It's a hard one too, because most of the time, your e-commerce manager or your marketing manager, you'll go through and talk to a few agencies, but you probably won't get into that level of detail around the links and where they're coming from, because you've got another 12 things on your plate. But it is important for transparency, just to understand that agency and really learn their ethics and what they're about. We've both worked for agencies, we've both been a part of different agencies. What do you look for when hiring an SEO agency? What would be your let's say that they didn't want to go with Remarkable Digital, but we're here to educate first and foremost. What to look for when hiring a good SEO agency?
Yeah, definitely someone that's going to set realistic expectations for what your business can achieve, right? And I didn't really talk about this, but there's a reason that I joined Remarkable Digital. I know I've known you for a very long time now. I've had you in my ecosystem for a long time, and obviously 6 months ago we started working together. But the thing about you that's different from everyone else is that you properly scope out what the client actually needs, as opposed to just putting money in your pocket. And I completely get it. We've all got money that we want to make, but if you understand what the client needs, that's the most important thing. The reason that we go into digital marketing in the first place, or at least I did, was to help businesses and to get results from them. That gives me the most happiness and the most fulfillment from this particular role. But somewhere along that line, where you start making money, that messaging gets lost a little bit. But it doesn't seem like that's happened to you, and obviously I'll keep you in check now that I'm working for you. But Yeah, that's the reason that I joined Remarkable Digital, and I think that's what you should be looking for when it comes to an SEO agency. It's just people that are out there to help you, right? And it's very hard to figure out what the red flags are. But one of the key red flags is if the business is all about, guarantees and, they're going to do this for you, they're going to do that for you, but you have to go on like a 12-month contract with them. If they're doing something like that, then they're just trying to put money into their pocket. But definitely communication is a big one as well. Making sure that they're able to communicate technical concepts to you in a way that you'll be able to understand. That shows a person that has a lot of knowledge on that particular subject. Like anything, right? If someone can explain something to you, you know that they know what they're talking about. So, that's what I would say. What about yourself, mate? What would you say is the key things people should look out for?
Mate, very kind words of you before I answer that. I appreciate that. No, it means a lot. Yeah, I think you're right. The thing that I see a lot is if you're speaking with multiple agencies, the customer generally will go with the one that's promised the most, and potentially is the cheapest or close to it. And there's not a lot of congruency around that. So I think you're right. The question to ask is this a sales pitch or is this an education piece?
Exactly.
And so that's the key difference. And so when I hear, there's some brands, and we hear it all the time, we've been burnt with 3 different agencies. It's like, okay, well, where's the lesson here? Before we take this client on, we need to be wary, because we don't want to be the 4th agency that burnt them, so to speak. So it's all about the ability to know your business, understand your business. It's not trying to sign you up there and then on the spot.
Yeah.
It's actually doing some research. And that's why I'm a little bit I don't like doing free audits, because I feel like free audits are just an opportunity to sell someone on why they should use you.
Exactly. Yep.
So, I'm sort of playing with the idea of a paid audit to start with as a workshop. And that way it's completely transparent. You can take that and you can go to any SEO agency you want to use.
Exactly.
But you've paid for some transparency and honesty. Now, there are agencies out there that do free audits and do it really well. But it's all about education. It's all about doing the right thing for the client and understanding that it takes time.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you this question around why does it take time for SEO, but understand that it's not a quick fix. And whilst I don't want to lock people into 12-month contracts, you're right?
Yeah, sorry, mate. Sorry. It's just pulling back from a sickness.
Whilst I don't want to be that company that locks people into 12-month contracts, the reason that I do see contracts work sometimes is because we understand that this is a long-term play. What I'm particularly proud of at Remarkable Digital is that we want to be clients and partners together with each brand that we take on till 2029, right? Not 3 months, not 6 months. This is any relationship you get into. There's going to be ups and downs, ebbs and flows. There's going to be things that go right and things that go wrong. Yeah. But if you're entering into a long-term partnership with someone that you trust and your values align with those, there's not a lot can go wrong. If you do good quality SEO, build good quality links, be completely transparent in results, how they're going, and communicate in a way that doesn't make the client feel stupid for not knowing something. So
exactly.
To your point, communicate to the level that they understand. So you're not trying to bamboozle them with, I see, I go on a bit of a tangent, but
you're right.
I can see, like, literally, if you want to make a campaign look good, you can play around with the metrics, the time frames, different results to any campaign that looks great, right? You can just, it's like, I don't know, it's look at this shiny thing over here, we're doing well. Meanwhile, the house is on fire over here. Yeah. If you've got really good relationships and you guys both trust each other, you can say, listen, this month hasn't been great. Here's what we've done. Here's what we've tried. Yeah. The traffic's down a little bit. Here's what we're doing to fix it. Yep. I think that's a better relationship.
Oh, 100%, mate. Transparency is the key. And you got it so right. I've worked for different SEO agencies, especially while I was at SEO Assistants. We used to do some white labeling work for different SEO agencies. And what they would say to us sometimes is, can we just report on the wins that we got this month and not the losses? And that just goes to show you these are the types of people that will actually burn your money, because you think everything's going well, when in reality, everything's hit the fan, and there's issues everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So being transparent, that's really, really important. And like you said, you're gonna see highs and you're gonna see lows, right? But as long as you're trending upwards, that's the main thing, right? SEO is a game of patience. It's not like paid advertising, where as soon as you put your money in, you're either going to see results or you're not going to see results. SEO is something that will always work. It just requires a consistent approach.
Yeah, 100%. I liken it to the gym. Obviously into my health and fitness.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the gym for 3 months, and then that month 3 to month 4, like you look no different, and you're like, what's going on? It's not working. Do you sack your personal trainer? Maybe. Or do you just accept that there's ebbs and flows in life?
Yeah.
Things happen. It's never linear. Like, success is never linear. So there's just no direct correlation between doing the work and getting the results.
Exactly.
It might take 3, 4, 5 months of doing the proper work, and then you'll have a big spike.
Yeah.
If you quit at month 4, you've missed out on that, and actually you've just wasted 4 months of SEO budget or a gym membership. So that's the takeaway is really understand it's a long-term game, do the right thing, partner with a reputable agency that will actually step by step do the right thing, build good quality backlinks, do good quality content, help with the user experience, talk to you, communicate. I don't think you can go too far wrong.
Exactly right, mate. Exactly right.
Mate, one more question for you.
Yeah, no dramas. I'd be happy to talk to you forever, mate.
How do brands know if they need to invest into SEO? The takeaway from this, they go, look, we understand why SEO is the most profitable, most efficient, most trusted, but how do they know if they have an SEO problem?
So, that's a good question, mate. Honestly, if your business has been around for at least a year, and SEO is not at least 25% of your total revenue, if it's not even coming close to that, then SEO is definitely the right answer. So that's probably the best way that I can answer that question, utilizing metrics. And obviously I'm simplifying it a little bit because certain e-commerce businesses will be different. Honestly, a simple answer to that question is probably to ask yourself that question. Do you feel like you're doing enough from an SEO point of view? And a lot of business owners are probably thinking in their minds right now about whether they are or aren't. And whatever the answer is to that, that'll let you know whether you need SEO or not, right? Because if you're just relying on an overseas company to write you a couple of blogs, build you a couple of links, and that's it, that's definitely not going to be enough, to compete with the bigger brands. So, I might throw that question back at you, mate. What do you feel like is the easiest way to know if brands should invest into SEO?
Yeah, well, as you say, data-driven is always a great way to start. So look at your, website traffic and look at, basically, is it sort of close to 30% of traffic is coming from organic search, and then look at, the conversion rate of that organic search as opposed to other platforms, and you could clearly see why you should be doing more of it. But I think to really even go simplify it even further, just Google your main 5 products and see where you rank in the Google search. Because if you're not in those top 3 positions, you're missing out on 65% of the clicks. So that's a good way to start. That's where I'd start.
There's a lot of people out there that actually don't know about Google Search Console. So I've known big brands that don't know about Google Search Console, which is quite ridiculous. So if there's anyone out there that's listening to this and want to be able to see what's happening with your organic SEO without having to rely on different tools, just set up your Google Search Console, go to the Google Search Console for your website and look at the Performance tab. That's where you can really see what are your most valuable keywords. And something I hope someone can take away from this particular call that I've had with you.
No, I was just saying, mate, look, I appreciate you joining us. I'm really thankful and grateful that you're a part of the Remarkable Digital team. You got great knowledge and great ethics is what I absolutely look for in an SEO specialist. to work with myself and all our clients at Remarkable Digital. Look, we've got room for a couple more e-commerce businesses to kick things off. We're really selective on the type of brands that we work with, and also how many we bring on one month, because we want to make sure that onboarding is really seamless, and we really want to take the time to understand your business. But we do have room for a couple more e-commerce businesses looking to improve their SEO results. If you liked what you heard on this podcast and want to know more, just get in touch with myself or Patrick, and we can kick it off with an initial discovery call, where the aim is for us to do 80% listening and 20% talking. I think that's the best way. Really understand your business, and then put a plan together and a strategy to make your SEO the most profitable channel, like it should be, within your business.
Yeah. Sounds good, mate. Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on, mate. And yeah, like you said, if there's any sort of e-commerce businesses out there, looking to improve their SEO results, we're here for you. So reach out when you can to Ryan or myself, and we'll be happy to help.
Legend. Mate, one question I didn't ask, which